Welcome to my library. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got for you a home library tour. If you have not seen my previous video, the Stephen King collection, the massive Stephen King collection, as you can see I've got the Stephen King stuff behind me. Check out that video. We'll put that up here for you if you have not seen it yet. Please do. It's an exciting video. It also kind of correlates with this video in some sense. So what I'm doing in this video is I'm going to be showing you my library. So the last one I showed you just the King stuff over here and over there. In this video I'm going to be showing you the stuff here, just everything that's in the library. We do have a second library that belongs to Danielle, but we're not going to feature that in this episode, this video. If you do want to see it, you can check out her Instagram, which we'll have down below. She does take some pretty nice looking pictures of her books and stuff and post them on her Instagram. But if you also want to see it on here, drop a like. But otherwise, we're going to get this thing started. I'm going to show you some books. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will get this thing started. We'll see you in the first shelf. Alright guys, so here on this shelf section, I've got about probably 95-97% horror thriller books. As you can see, there are a couple that are not. Ready Player 1, Ready Player 2. There's a couple more that you'll see later on. But this whole section is mainly like horror thriller stuff that I've collected. The first section here is pretty much going to be hardcovers of horror thriller, and then Ready Player 1, Ready Player 2. You will also notice some holes kind of throughout the shelves here. It's because we have another shelf that we're going to show you at the end where we put like planned videos, like stuff we have planned out on a different shelf. So you'll see that later. So from the horror thriller hardcovers, you go into my Joe Hill stuff. I do not have it with the same Stephen King stuff because I redid the shelves and I didn't want to put Joe Hill like on the very bottom, so I kind of gave him his own little section up here with room to grow, soon hopefully. Then next you go to my newer Dune collection. I did just recently get an older one from my father. I do have a box of older books that I do still need to put out, but I'm not going to put them out yet, so you're not going to see those. Then over here I've got like some older books, The Exorcist, The Basement Creature, and then 2 Peter Straub books, and Devil's Day. I don't know who that author is, but it was one that was an older horror thriller book that I thought I should take a look at and read. So next up is my Nick Cutter, Craig Davidson, which is his kind of like pen name or whatever it's called, where he writes under a different name. And then I have Grady Hendrix. Those are like my 2 like surprise authors of 2020, and obviously there's room to grow with him, both of them. So that's exciting. That shelf is probably going to expand out at some point. Then over here I've got my book of the months that are horror thriller. Danielle's got some other ones over in her library that are not horror thriller. I have a bunch more book of the months. Like I said, they're spread out between her and I's library, but I had taken the horror thriller ones and put those here. And as you can see, I've got my Riley Sager books. There's going to be a 5th one added this year. I'm excited for that. So he does have a 5th one coming out this year. I can't remember the title. Survive the Night. If you have not seen my 2021 like books I'm excited for this year, like that are being released this year, we'll put that up here if you want to take a look at that. Very exciting stuff. Then over here I've kind of got some like older classics. I've got 2 like leather-bound books of Dracula and Frankenstein, and then I've got an Edgar Allan Poe book, another Dracula book, and then an H.P. Lovecraft classic stories. Gotta take a look into those. Those are some classics, and probably do a reading vlog with both of those at some point. We'll see. Gotta figure it out. And then next up here, I've got a bunch of like short stories, novellas, just throughout a whole bunch of different authors. It's a pretty cool collection. I like it. Obviously, it's going to grow. The last 2 I have over here are Darcy Coates. She is an author that I found just purely on Amazon, and I've read Dead Lake and The Haunting of Gillespie House, and both of those books were really good. So I'm going to keep reading her and expand my collection with her. So you're going to be seeing probably a 3rd shelf with her at some point. Over here I've got another set of hardcover horror thriller books. Again, like I said, we got a bunch missing over here because we got other videos planned. Then I kind of go into like my paperback ones. These ones I think are mainly thriller, a couple of horror ones. I got Gillian Flynn in here. Then over here are kind of like more like my favorite, like, I wouldn't say classics, but they're older horror thriller books in my paperback forms are here. And again, there are still some missing, like I keep saying. Then over here I've got a couple more paperbacks of horror and thriller, a couple more classics kind of mixed in. And then over here I've got 3 Jeremy Bates, and then I got a George A. Romero kind of like Night of the Living Dead kind of book. And then Hex, which is a good book. I read that one. Then I have Robert Jordan, The Eye of the World, which is the Wheel of Time book series, like the first book. This is a book that I plan to read and see if I can get into the series, but there's a lot of books in the series, and so I just wanted to start with the first one. Haven't read it yet. Plan to get to it soon, though. Alright, and here we have on row 4. It's pretty much 98% just random paperbacks of horror thriller stuff. As you can see, I've got a hardcover of Shutter Island by Dennis Leanne. I can't pronounce this book. I got that book there. I can't pronounce it. Then I have the Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer. Those are the only 3 hardcovers on that shelf. Otherwise, everything else is like horror, thriller, paperback. Then the bottom row is some other thriller hardcovers. Again, it's like 97% hardcovers. I got Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris in a paperback. And then the last cube down there is some more paperbacks of some other thrillers. I want to say a good chunk of those are books that were shipped to me that are ARCs by different publishers and stuff like that. And there you have the first section of shelves, horror, thriller, and some other stuff. The other thing I was going to show you on this side is this poster Danielle found for me. It's hard to read the ST, but it says Stabby Road. I'm a Beatles fan, and obviously a horror fan. And you can see Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and Leatherface walking like the Beatles across Abbey Road, but instead it says Stabby Road. So, kind of a fun play on words. So there you have the first part of the room. Alright, on this side we've got all my Stephen King books. I did a whole video on all these books, so I'm not going to show you book by book or talk book by book or anything like that. Just know I have them laid out chronological order, and then I have my Dark Tower stuff there in the center. But I didn't show you the stuff on the top shelf in the last video I did for it, so that's what I'm going to show you today. Up here I've kind of got like my Shining display. I've got like a mini Jack Torrance with a typewriter. I've got a Shining bookmark up here with a Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey, which is the drink he has in The Shining, at least in the movie. Then I have a book called The Last Novel of Jack Torrance, which was written by Scott Bowles. What that pretty much is literally everything that Jack wrote on his typewriter in the movie. All work and no play make Jack a dull boy. Literally like 200 something pages of it. So when we bought it, that was not what I expected, but that's what I got, and I think it still is pretty funny and pretty cool. So Next up, I've got a Christine, a little toy car replica of Christine. And then here, the background you see is actually from the board game of The Shining that we have. I thought it was kind of cool. Game sounds really confusing, so we haven't played it yet. Maybe we'll play it eventually. But here I've got my Funkos. I've got Carrie, which was a really hard one to find and get, so thank you Grandma and Grandpa for that. I've got the Torrance family, Wendy, Danny, and Jack. There is another Jack Torrance I'm missing, but he's very expensive, so... Then here I've got Gage and Church from Pet Sematary. I've got the 3 Pennywises. I've got him before he turns into Pennywise from the more recent movies. I've got the Tim Curry Pennywise in the back over here. And then I have the Skarsgård Pennywise over here. There are, from the last It movie, there are a lot of Pennywise Funkos, the Kid Funkos. A lot. I haven't gotten any of the other ones yet because I only wanted to get Pennywise, so that's why you don't see any of the children. So, moving on. Alright, up here, I've got 2 board games. I've got the Shining board game I just mentioned, which is really confusing. Then I have Clue, the It version. This is a game that Danielle and I really love, the game of Clue itself. And now you're mixing It into it, so now you're getting Stephen King involved, and that just sounds like a fun time for me, and now we're going to be playing that eventually, so hopefully it's going to be fun. I would think so. It's Clue. Then I've got The Shining, the Grady twins, like a little pack where it obviously came with both of them because they're twins. They do have actual Funko versions of them, but again, this is another one that's hard to find, so don't have them. Then you move on to over here, I've got a Funko Pennywise cereal. This was another gift from Danielle, and the box actually had been unopened, and it came with like a little Pennywise Funko here, with him holding a balloon, and it is an actual cereal. There's actual cereal in there. It's been expired for like 2 years, so not eating it. But yeah, there's an actual cereal in there, which I think is kind of funny. Over here, I've got what Danielle and I jokingly called my Barbie doll. My It action figure looking thingy. So he came in a case where it looked like the movie from the original in the 90s. And he's got 4 different heads, a bunch of different like accessories to go with him. I decided to give him the balloons and the paper boat with him having the mutant hand where he starts turning into the spider. He's got other like I said, he's got other heads, other hands, and stuff like that. I just thought that looked the best to me, where he's holding the boat in one hand and he's got the balloons in the other. Then next to that is a whole like special like box set of the unabridged recording audiobook for It, read by Steven Weber, which I actually really loved the audiobook. I don't think it's CD, so I could play it on any kind of boombox or whatever I've got, but I just listened to it online. But again, it looks really cool, and I absolutely love it. Unfortunately, somebody cut something out in there, so I don't know what that was. It could have been a person's name, but kind of ruined the cover, but it's whatever. Half-price books, good find. Then over here, I've got the box for the Christine car down at the other end. And the last thing I have is a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. I'll actually bring this down and kind of try and show it to you. This is a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle of all the Stephen King covers. Not all of them, but a really good chunk of them. But I don't know if it's got every single one, because I can see already that there's 3 or 4 versions of It on here. So I don't think all of them are on there, but a good chunk of them are. So I thought that was cool. And that is my Stephen King accessories up here on this wall. Alright, so over here starting on this wall, I've got 2 license plates. I've got the license plate for Christine, which is the Plymouth Fury, the 58 Plymouth Fury. It's like a replica of everything, so it's even got the sticker for California, which where it's placed. Then below that is the Nosferatu license plate, which is Joe Hill's Nosferatu. Then below that, I've got a Pet Sematary bookmark. And then I've got a poster from a Buick 8. That's not an actual signature, I wish it was. But this actually, I bought a Buick 8 hardcover from Half Price Books, and it had the poster in it. And I don't know if they even knew about it at the counter, but whatever, I got a poster, so I like that. Starting down here, this is like my little Stephen King like movie section. I've got the 2 books of Stephen King Goes to the Movies, which are pretty cool books. It's pretty much 5 stories. 5 stories that are like really popular movies, and I think that's pretty nifty. Then I've got a book ornament and the keychain for one of the rooms in the Overlook Hotel. It's 237, which is the room in the book. And then I've got like a little clock with like a little movie thing here, and then I got bears. I don't know why I have bears on there, but it's just cool decor. Then I've got a Stephen King at the Movies like giant book down here, and that pretty much is like all the book adaptations that were turned into movies. They kind of like talk about them, go in depth with it, and it's a pretty cool book. I liked it. Then below that, I've got 2 hanging Pennywise Funkos here. One holding the beaver hat that says I Heart Dairy, and then where his hands are like the spider hands. And then I've got all the DVDs here that I own. I've got Christine, Cujo, The Dead Zone, Desperation, Dr. Sleep, Dreamcatcher, Graveyard Shift, Silver Bullet, The Green Mile, It Part 1, The Mist, Pet Sematary, 2 versions of The Shining, and then a Triple Terror collection, which has got the TV miniseries for Salem's Lot, It, and then The Shining with Steven Weber in the 90s. Then below that, I've got The Shopkeeper from It Part 2, which is, if you haven't seen it, that's Stephen King. It's a cameo from him. And then I've got my VHSs. I've got the Dark Half, It, 2 tapes, and It at the bottom here with just a 1 tape. The Langoliers, Misery, Nightmare Collection, which is, I think, from Night Shift. It's got a couple stories from Night Shift in it. Salem's Lot, 2 of The Stand, and then Storm of the Century. So that's like my little TV collection, movie collection of Stephen King. Alright, next to my little movie thing here, I've got a fireplace that I got from my work. It's electric. It's not an actual one. Put this in here, built it. I felt like a library was incomplete without a fireplace. Then I've got a TV up here. I've got 2 Funkos of Tom Servo and Crow from Mystery Science Theater 3000. Which is pretty much like a spoof thing where people, like, they sit down, watch a movie, and they pretty much make fun of it. So I kind of thought that was, like, a cool thing to get. Then underneath that, I've got Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, which I do have an Avengers thing somewhere else, but I figured it should go in here because it's by other things like it, so I don't know. Then over here, I've got my Harry Potter hardcover box set. Did not come with this. I had to get this one separate. But it's Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, parts 1 and 2. But it's like it's a new story. I think it's supposed to be like what happens after book 7 in the series. I think. I'm not the biggest Harry Potter whiz, but it is a series that I'm going to try and read this year. I got all the hardcovers are in here, books 1 through 7. It's a pretty cool box set that I got from Barnes & Noble. Pretty nifty. Then over here, I've got a wall calendar that Danielle got me, which has got a whole bunch of like horror stuff on it. There's some Stephen King on there, horror movies and stuff. As you can see, January is Freddy Krueger. It is not the prettiest January one. I actually kept jokingly telling her I wanted to wait to put it up until February so I would avoid looking at that every day. But it's whatever. So there you have... Oh, then I have these curtains. I completely forgot about these. My mother-in-law, Mary Ellen, made these curtains for me. They are the carpet pattern for The Shining from the movie, and it's really cool. So thank you, Mary Ellen, for that. Yeah, that completes this wall. On to the next one. Alright, and then starting off in this corner here, you can see a piece of the fireplace. It's supposed to be like a corner one, so you put it in a corner, and that's what that is. So anyone who's wondering what that is, that's what that is. Over here, starting some other books. The top shelf here is like series that I have. I have 2 Harry Potter paperbacks as well as another one of the Cursed Child books. That, like again, I'm not quite sure what it is. Then moving on from that, I've got Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief series. I've got the Lord of the Rings series here with The Hobbit and the other 3 books that are part of that series. Then next to that, I've got the Hunger Games series. The only one I have not read is the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So I need to read that, then I will have completed this whole series. Then I've got a paperback version of The Lord of the Rings where it's got all 3 books in one. My dad just also gave me a hardcover version of that, so thank you, Dad. Then below that is just, these 2 shelves are just my collections of books that I want to read that are not really horror related or thriller related. They're just books I want to read. Some are horror and thriller, but not all of them. So they're just books that I heard are good, that I know are like famous or whatever, and I want to give them a read at some point. We do have a video planned for some of these. We just don't have them up on the shelf yet, so again, that's something you're going to see soon. Then I have this nice edition of Jurassic Park and the Lost World, where it came in like one leather-bound book. There you have Batman and Colonel Sanders. On the bottom shelf that you can't see, I've got a box full of comic books, and then some like home improvement books and some like writing books and stuff like that. So pretty cool stuff, and that's this shelf here. Alright, so then starting on this wall, or finishing off this wall, is the Stephen King like non-fiction stuff and other stuff. Again, I showed this all in my video with the Stephen King collection, so I'm not going to really go in depth with this stuff, but a couple of box sets, cool editions, and stuff like that, different language at the bottom. Up here I've got a couple of Stephen King shirts. I'm still deciding on where to put them. I've got Cujo, Salem's Lot, Pet Sematary, It, and The Shining, as well as some socks that Danielle got me with The Shining, so pretty cool. Then over here is the upcoming video shelf. So we'll show you the books right now, but we're not going to tell you what's going to happen with them. So stay tuned for these. Pretty cool. This was actually a bookshelf from my parents' house. It was my old bookshelf, so kind of repainted it. Up here is a clock from my grandma. Fortunately, she passed away a few years ago, and so I wanted to keep that to kind of remember her by, as long as a card that's at my desk. So pretty cool clock. I like it. So there you have the upcoming video shelf and the other Stephen King shelf. Alright, and over here you can see I've got my little Goosebumps collection. On the top shelf I've got a picture of my Stephen King books kind of laid out in a cool design. Check out my Instagram if you haven't, because I posted the picture on there. Maybe it's been a couple months. But check out my Instagram, we have that down below as well. Then next to that I've got a version of Frankenstein, which is a pretty cool design. And then next to that is a really cool looking Dracula cover. Really love that. To the right of that I've got a clown looking Deadpool Funko Pop, which is another pretty cool looking guy I have for a Funko. This is another little cool thing that Danielle found for me. It is a book sleeve with the Stephen King covers on it. It looks the same on both sides, I'm pretty sure. Maybe a little slight difference in height. But I thought this was a cool find that she had for me. And yeah. Then from there, like I said, I got my Goosebumps stuff on the bottom 2 shelves. The top left is books 1 through 60. I'm only missing 2 more, which is 61, which is I Live in Your Basement, and 62, which is Monster Blood 4, which I actually ordered Monster Blood 4, and it should be coming soon. Then all I need is I Live in Your Basement, so hopefully that one comes soon, or I can find it soon for not $100. Then I kind of have some like of the special editions to the right of that. I got a couple of box sets, and to the right, the very far right, I've got 2 like boxes together. I've got the Slappy edition where it's got the Night of the Living Dummy 1, 2, and 3. And then I have a camping one where it's got like the main stories for like camping and stuff like that. I don't remember which ones are in there. On the bottom left, I've got 3 little tin cases where it came with 5 books each. So that kind of helped with the collection a lot. And there's kind of some playing cards sitting in front of those that came in some of the books. I got Night of the Living Dummy, Egg Monsters from Mars, and Bad Hair Day. Then to the right of that, I've got 2 Goosebumps games. I have not played either of them. The one furthest right is actually one that my dad used to own. I never played it correctly, so I'm not sure how to actually play it. So maybe it's another one we'll play one of these days. And then in the middle is the Goosebumps movie with Jack Black in it. It was an okay movie. It was alright. But yeah, there you have my Goosebumps collection with some other little nifty stuff on the top shelf. Alright guys, so that was my library. Again, like I said, Danielle's got one too. If you want to see some of that, check out her Instagram. So that was the library. It was a really fun thing to shoot. There's a lot of books in here. Obviously there's so many I couldn't really talk about them all. And obviously with the Stephen King stuff behind me, I'm already sitting at 400 plus books in this room. So I'd say probably got almost 600-700 books in here. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't count them. But yeah. That was my library. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.